everybody on YouTube, and welcome back to Season 9 NNSCRA Walmart Cup Series coverage as we get set for Race 18, the final race of the first half of the actual season here for this season. Hi, I'm Levi McIntyre, a.k.a. Thrashmaniac99, the voice of NNSCRA Walmart Cup Series. And yes, we are at a different track for this week. We are back here at Lime Rock Park for the Steak and Shake 300, and this is going to be an interesting race because I figured since I decided instead of having the typical road course race before the chase, we're going to move Kansas, that was supposed to be today, up to the last race before the chase begins, because I figured you guys deserve an exciting race to close out the regular season before the chase begins. So real quick before we get started with the lineup, let's look at the point standings and see how they look coming in this week. Johnny Gardner leads by 17 points over Preston Plord. Or not Preston Plord, Trent Dunham. Then it's Preston Plord third. Fourth, Katie Cochran. Fifth is Dylan Young. Sixth is Tim Walsh. Seventh, DJ Curtis. Eighth, Pichu London. Ninth, Tanner Sullivan. And then 10th, good one for me right there, and excuse me, is Seth Cole. Rest of the top 20 is Michael Norman, Jesse Setti, Joshua Collard, Carson Gum, Dorian Facepuncher, Anthony McCrory, Dylan Thoreau, PJ Williams, David Rivera, Matt McIntyre. That is how the top 20 looks. Now, as far as that real competitive battle from 28th on back to about 33rd, it is now separated by, as I'm looking to make sure I'm correct, it is separated by 53 points, and actually a few more guys are starting to lose a bit of momentum, quite a good bit, so it's getting pretty closer. But pretty much the main battle is actually now from 30th to 33rd, as it's separated by 30 points, with Sheldon in 30th, and then the five highest outside the top 30 are Stephanie Naylor, Kyle Matthews, Dylan Poteet, Bob Jones, Kyle Keith, which none of those five actually qualified in this week. The highest outside the top 30 that made it in is Chase Oliver, who is actually on the pole for today, so he's going to be the one that's going to he's going to be the one that'll probably gain a lot depending on how he performs today. But let's go ahead and look at the lineup, as starting in the last row will be Trent Dunham and Jessica Shelton. Top 10, it is Chase Oliver on the pole. Starting next to him is rookie John Art. Row 2 is Zach Rogers and the king of Lime Rock, David Rivera. Row 3 is Dorian Facepuncher, Chris Washer. Row 4 is Ryan Acosta and Johnny Gardner. Then row 5, Jesse Setti and Anthony McCrory. But let's go ahead and get the command to fire engines for the Steak and Shake 300 at Lime Rock.
Drivers, start your engines!
Cars going through for their half pace lap. And this is a 10-lap event, so typically around Lime Rock tends to be a pretty short race for us to see. But yeah, like I said, this is the last race of the regular season, or the last race of the first half of the entire season. The remaining schedule we have left of the regular season, we got Daytona, then Chicago, Indianapolis, Watkins Glen, Michigan, Atlanta, Darlington, Kansas. Pace car pulling in the pit road, and the cars are getting ready to get set for racing for 10 laps here at the shortest road course of the schedule. And it is time to boogity 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 go racing. Well, Chase Oliver led the first lap, and we have a new second place driver, Zach Rogers. Now, man, like I've said in the last couple weeks, Zach Rogers has just really been finding the right momentum at the right time, it seems. He is 29th in points, has a win under his belt. He's got a bit of a cushion over the 30th spot in points, so he's able to stick around in there for a little bit. And Rogers is looking to get his second win this season so he can be in the hunt for a wild card spot in the chase. However, you got 3 drivers outside the top 10 with 2 wins that are looking to get the wild card spots. PJ Williams, John Cittadino, Chris Washer. So it's going to get down pretty heavy between those guys as to who would get the wild card spots, or would other drivers ahead of those guys get a second win for a wild card. Dorian Facepuncher jumps into third, and Dorian Facepuncher so far this season has had a rather up and down season. He's actually a defending winner here. He won back here earlier in the season before All-Star break, and he's currently having a good day in third, so he's going to be able to get both races at Lime Rock a good finish if he can stay up here where he is. Facepuncher is 15th in points. He fell out of the top 10 after getting involved in the big one last week at Michigan, but he might find himself back into the top 10 before this race is over if he can stay running where he is. Behind him, we're going to have a battle for fourth with David Rivera and go or go home driver Ryan Acosta, but David Rivera, like I brought up last week at Michigan, David has had a rather mediocre season. Not really the David Rivera we're used to seeing in this series, and currently Rivera heading into this race was 19th in points. And also, like I said earlier, he is the king of Lime Rock. He's had the most wins here, the most good finishes here, and he's keeping that streak going as he's currently 5th on track right now. Behind him, and actually in front of him, who passed him for 4th, is Ryan Acosta. Now, Ryan Acosta trying to get his first top 10 finish this season, and right now he's en route to that, running in the 5th position, so an even better way to get a good finish. So Acosta looking to do something big. Behind him and Rivera is John Arnden, the 21. This is only his 5th start this season, and he's got, out of all the drivers in the standings, the best average finish at 13th, because he has 2 top 10s and a couple top 20 finishes. So currently 6th, looking to get another top 10 run, maybe a top 5 if he can get around David Rivera. Behind him, Jesse Setti in the 22, probably considered right now like the Juan Pablo Montoya this season, if you know what I mean, in 2009 in NASCAR Sprint Cup. Juan Pablo Montoya was always in the top 15 in points, but didn't have a lot of top 10, top 5 finishes. Setti is 12th in points and has only 1 top 10 to her credit this season. Currently running in there as Anthony McCreary's trying to go by. And McCreary, coming into this race, has a bit of momentum because he won at Pocono and he's 16th in points, moved up from 20th. McCreary looking to try to keep that going and hope to continue to finish well in order to get in the top 10 for the chase for the championship. Behind them, too, is Seth Cole, and Seth Cole is 10th in the points, en route to having his 6th top 10 finish this season. He's just looking to stay in the top 10 so he can be in the championship picture. And then behind him in the last car in the top 10 is Chris Washer. Chris Washer, like I said earlier, one of the guys outside the top 10, inside the top 30 with 2 wins, trying to get a wild card spot. And heading into this race, he was only 15 points behind the second wild card driver, John Cittadino. And as we look down the list, he is clearly many spots ahead of Cittadino, so if he can stay where he is and Cittadino has a rather rough day, then Washer could end up getting the second wildcard spot heading into Daytona, but the battle for the chase isn't over. We still got plenty of time, and look at this little hornet's nest of Rivera, Arndt, and McCrory. They were all battling right there for the 5th spot, and now John Arndt gets the position. Back up here at the front, Chase Oliver continues to lead, and it's 3 laps to go. Zach Rogers has been kind of up and down at trying to get to the 68s, and Dorian Facepuncher trying to get a run on Zach Rogers for second. Meanwhile, Ryan Acosta enjoying a large gap between himself and now Anthony McCrory in 5th, and David Rivera continues to lose spots. He's now going to drop back to potentially 9th. Maybe even more if he's not too careful. Because he's got Mannon, he just, whoa, almost a wreck between Seth Cole and David Rivera. Now we've got a new guy in the top 10, Carson Gum in the 32. But now it's going to be a big mess up here of who will be 9th place. Or actually, 8th place, excuse me. Back up to the front as it's less than 2 to go, and Zach Rogers is gaining quite a good bit on the 68 of Oliver. Chase Oliver, if he were to win this race, I believe this would be his 9th career win in the Walmart Cup Series. Meanwhile, throughout the whole field, it's been rather clean. No craziness going on as we're coming to the white flag. White flag is out for Chase Oliver. Distance pulled away a little bit by about a half a tenth over Rogers. Out here, Mason Powers in the 36 having a solid run in 11th going right now. But meanwhile, we're looking up here at the front to watch Chase Oliver if he's making any mistakes, and it doesn't look like it. Chase Oliver en route to his first win this season, and I think his 9th overall in the series history. And it looks like he's going to be home free, coming out of the final corner to come and take the checkered flag. Representing Sega Motorsports, Chase Oliver wins the Steak and Shake 300 at Lime Rock. Domination by the 68. What a performance by that 68 team out of, did I say Sega Motorsports? I meant Hendrick Motorsports in the 68. Next season, that team's going to be a part of a new team that I won't give out details quite just yet. But anyways, let's look at the rest of the results. Zach Rogers with a great run in the 2nd position, continuing a nice streak of good finishes. Dorian Facepuncher gets a much-needed run in 3rd, so he could potentially get back in the top 10. Ryan Acosta, his first top 5/10 finish this season, so well-deserved for the 10 car. And Anthony McCrory with a solid performance in 5th, so he continues a bit of a momentum run himself. John Arndt with a great run in the 6th position. That's his 3rd top 10 in 5 starts this season. Jesse Setti gets her 2nd top 10 finish in 7th. David Rivera with a great run in 8th. Seth Cole comes away with a solid finish in 9th. And Chris Washer, great run rounding out the top 10. Rest of the top 20, Mason Powers, Johnny Gardner, Jake Baskinger, Carson Gum, Alan Cavagnaro, Peachy London, Austin Mongold, Tanner Sullivan, Preston Plord, Sean Galligan. Rest of the top 30, Dylan Young, Sky Commons, Blaine Keys, DJ Curtis, Charles Sanford, Katie Cochran, Aaron Henderson, PJ Williams, Dylan Thoreau, Jonathan Zorline. Rest of the top 40, Jessica Sheldon, Angel Navarro, John Cittadino, James Qualls, Michael Norman, Joshua Collard, Anthony Ritchie, Trent Dunham, Matt McIntyre, James McLeod, and then Austin LaPlante and Tim Walsh. That does it for our coverage today here at Lime Rock. Next week we return to the track that started the season, Daytona, as we get set for the Pepsi 400 night race at Daytona, and that's going to be really exciting. But until then, here are your results, rookie points, and regular points heading into Daytona, and this is Levi McIntyre signing off.